You ever spend an hour recording a video and then start going through your footage only to realize that your camera was on autofocus and decided to really screw with you for an hour? Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me for a few minutes today. We're going to try this again. In this video, we're going to take a look at something that recently popped up in my purview via the self-host newsletter. If you haven't checked that out, you should. Links in the description. But we're going to take a look at a Docker service called Zipline. If we take a look at their website, we can see that Zipline is the next generation ShareX/file upload server. Basically, Zipline can be used in a couple of different ways, either as a standalone server where you can just upload files and kind of use it like your own Imgur, or whatever the new thing that kids are using these days, or you can use it as a file server for your screenshot app, whether that's like ShareX or FlameShot. So we've actually taken a look briefly at ShareX in kind of the same capacity as we're doing today, where it was kind of a desktop application. We had set up a server in the past few years ago, so that ShareX would have a destination to upload to rather than Imgur or whatever the kids are using these days. We're not going to get too much into ShareX itself or the other app that it's compatible with, FlameShot. I know I do have ShareX configured on my computer for the sake of this tutorial so I can demonstrate how it works, but ShareX is kind of its own separate application that we're not going to focus too much on for the video that we're talking about today with Zipline. So just kind of wanted to get that cleared up very early on here. But basically it says it's packed with features and a great dashboard, which I agree with. More or less, we're going to talk about some of the little things that I've noticed, of course, as well as the rest of the stuff as well. But Zipline has an amazing dashboard. I agree, it looks really good. That's part of the reason I like it, is it's got a great looking dashboard. You can view your stats. I have mixed results with viewing stats. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, and that plays a bit of a bug in some other things that you can theoretically do with Zipline, but it could be a me issue. You can also view your files in a gallery, which you would hope for in a setup like this. You can actually use this as like a URL shortener. Sort of. I mean, you can, but again, you're not getting a lot of good data based on my experience. Again, that could be a me issue. If you have had, we'll get to that, never mind. You can organize your files with folders, which I super appreciate. You can actually share those folders as well. So you can share a folder with a bunch of things in it, and I dig that. And then there's a full list of features down here. Quick setup, I agree with. Configure your Zipline to your needs. I agree with that as well. In fact, just a quick overview, just to touch on that real quick. Like right here is the Docker Compose that we're going to take a look at later. But if you go into configuration, and then you can dig through all of these sub menu items to do things like change the website title, or show external links in the bottom left-hand corner, or enable or disable the version in the bottom left-hand corner, or you can rate limit your users or your admins, or you can turn on and enable multi-factor authentication all through environment variables in your Docker Compose. Now that is at the time of recording this, which is currently version 3.7.9. I believe there's a newer version, version 4 coming out soon. So some of this may change if you get to that point, if you're watching this after the new version has come out. Just wanted to clarify that as well. So you can also upload any file, but you can restrict what kind of file types are available. It's in here somewhere. Uploader maybe. Oh, you can set file limit or file size limits. Yeah, and right here you can disable like certain extension types if you want to do that for security reasons, like maybe exe files, maybe you don't want to allow those to be uploaded, right? Folders we talked about, URL shortening we talked about, you can embed things as well. We'll kind of talk about that a little bit later. You can get notifications through third-party apps like Discord as an example. OAuth registration, if you wanted to integrate with a third-party OAuth provider, you can do that. You can enable two-factor authentication, which I love. You can invite your friends, you can password protect files when you share them. You can enable image compression if you want to do that. There are like 25, 50, 75, and 100% compression available by default, but you can enable different compression levels via the API, and I believe even through the environment variables as well, video thumbnails, API, and more. So he said he didn't feel like listing everything, so go check out the docs. Absolutely, top of the page, go to the docs. I encourage you to look through the docs. I can't emphasize that enough. Both this website and the GitHub repository here will be linked in the video description as per usual. So definitely check those out. I've got Zipline enabled or set up, configured, whatever, for a demonstration here for this tutorial. I've also got it set up on a domain name here. You don't have to do that, but if you want to share things outside your network or be able to use like ShareX or Flameshot to upload to your server from away from home, you will need to put this behind a reverse proxy of some sort. I'm using Cloudflare tunnels and it's been a breeze to use. But since we're here, since we're taking a look at my dashboard, this is what it will look like. I'm logged in as an administrator and we've got our title up here. I've modified that via my Docker Compose. We've got our navigation down the side. I've also changed these links in the bottom left-hand corner via my Docker Compose. It says I've got 24 files here and 28 files here, and that's because I have 24 files. This 28 is all of the files from all of the users, because I've also got a basic user on here doing some testing as well. And what I mean is I've got another account where I'm also the basic user that I was doing some testing with. Anyway, they've uploaded 4 files, or I've uploaded whatever, right? Total, we're using 18.3 megs, 6 views, 2 users. The views, again, I've had a real mixed result with based on whether it's files or URLs or whatever. I don't always get views showing up appropriately in this, so your mileage may vary. I hope your mileage varies vastly differently from mine. I hope your views work, because mine don't. However, that may be fixed in version 4 that's coming out later. I also put in a feature request to have the ability to not show this whole bar right here, all of it, because even the basic users can view this as well, and I don't think they should. Apparently the developer agrees, and that's been taken care of in version 4. Again, I don't know when that's coming out. Below that, we can see recent files that I've uploaded. If I click this, right here, this bar is the image, recent files, the name, how many views. Again, it doesn't seem to work for me. The MIME type, when it was uploaded, the size, the ID. Below here, you can add this to different folders if you have folders created. We'll talk about folders in a moment. You can delete the file, favorite the file, open the file in a new tab, or copy the URL, or download the file, all from this little pop-up window right here. Of course, that's true with all of the files that we've got here. Below that, again, we've got a list of all of the files kind of in a list format versus more of a grid format. And again, same thing, the name, the type, the size, when it was created. More details, if we click that, it's going to open it up just like it did a moment ago. We can open a new tab. You can copy the URL to the clipboard, or you can delete the image from right there. And then this is also paginated across the bottom right-hand corner there. So files, again, we've got this just kind of a gallery, like it talked about over on the Getting Started page, or the home page, I suppose, over here on the website. And again, same thing, you can open these up and view them, same as we saw just a moment ago. However, like for instance, I want to make sure this is turned down. Like I've got a video file here that I recorded with ShareX yesterday just to do some testing. But that shared very easily here. I've got a project file there. I've got a text file here. I think all of that is fine to look at. So all kinds of good stuff in here. MP3 files as well. You can show or not show media or non-media files if you want to do that. And then, of course, again, more pagination to get to more files. Next in our list over here in the left-hand side is folders. Again, I've got a couple of different folders listed here, text files and thumbnails. If I click on thumbnails, here are all of the different files that I put in thumbnails. What I dig about folders over here is I can, right here, I can copy that, right? And then I can open this in a new window. And right there is all of the pictures, the files, the whatever I put in that folder, all of them are right here. So you can share folders with contents in them, and I love that. I do have to wonder, oh, you can make the folder private. You can click that, and now it's not going to be easy for people to find that folder by just going to a URL string. So that's cool. I dig that. You can list out grid view or list view, whichever grid or list, whichever you want to use. And then of course you can create a new folder if you want to do that. Stats, this can be disabled sort of. So, okay. This page can be disabled via environment variables so that non-admins can't view this page. However, they can still view all of the data across the top of the page by just going to the home page. So it is what it is. Again, that has been apparently corrected in version 4. But coming over here to the stats page as an administrator, again, you can kind of get an idea of what's going on across your server for files, storage, views, upload types with a little pie chart there, total views, total uploads, and the amount of storage being used, and a nice little chart or graph. Graph is the right word there. URLs, again, you can kind of use this as URL shortener if you wanted to do that. However, you're not going to get much in the way of actual view counts. You can set these to have like a max view before it auto terminates. But if your view count isn't working, then that becomes kind of a moot point. You can also do the same thing when you upload a file. I guess I should talk about that for a moment. When you come in here, you can set max views, again, mixed results with that, or you can set an expiration time, whether it's never 5 minutes or a year, and lots of stuff in between there. So you can set your compression. I apologize for jumping back. I forgot this part of the page. Again, we talked about the compression earlier. The default format, as far as the naming, I wish this said naming format instead of just format, but you can change the default random original name, date, UUID, or apparently Giphy Cat. This is new to me as far as naming convention is concerned. But all of those are options for naming conventions for your files. You can also password protect the file. You can override the domain if you've got lots of domains pointed to this. You can put in a domain there if you want to. You can also set zero width embedded and keep the original name if you want to do that on a file by file basis. So you've got that as an option, and then of course you can just do that. Nope. Let's just grab this, and then just click upload. We'll give it a second, and then right there is the URL. And if we do that, there is our view. That's from a long time ago. But that's what that looks like. And if I come back to files and I open this up and I scroll down, it shows a view, but it might not later. It's real. I've had real mixed reviews or mixed experience with whether or not it shows views appropriately. So we talked a little bit about URLs. I apologize for jumping here and then jumping back. Sometimes I forget stuff. Again, we can upload files or text. You can just go to your file uploader, just like we saw a moment ago. We can drag and drop, or we can click and upload like we did a moment ago. Text, this is because if you wanted to, you could say, for instance, come over to Docs and just grab this like so, and then come over to here and paste that in. And then you can take a look at it this way, and you can kind of get a preview of what that will look like. But you can come down here and select, what is it? Is it Markdown? Is it CSS? Is it JavaScript? Ruby, Bash, Perl? This is YAML. So now if we scroll back up and click preview, now we actually get the appropriate code, like the color coding, that sort of thing, for whatever file type your text happens to be in. Anyway, again, options, you can do all of the same upload options as before, and then you can click upload. And then we can just open that in a new tab. And there it is with all of its color coding, formatting, whatever you want to call it there. So that's what's going on with the uploads. Under administration, you can really just administer users here. All of your other server administration stuff is actually done via your Docker Compose file. So you can create new users, username, password, decide whether or not you want them to be administrator, and that's it. That's all you can do there. Again, like I mentioned, I customized these links down here. I did leave the latest, or the version number down there in the bottom left corner, just because I could. I guess if we jump over to the top right-hand corner of the page, we can look at our files. We can upload a file. We can shorten a URL. All of that is available up here in the top right-hand corner as well. We can manage our account. which is that we've got an API token if we wanted to do that. Our username, our password, we can change those just on the fly if we want to. We can also add custom embed data. So if we if we share an image, whether it's in Discord or wherever, we can have custom embed information shared with that image or whatever. And we can customize that right here. Again, we can add a list of domains separated by commas. These domains will be used to randomly output a domain when uploading. This is optional. I don't know why you would do that, but you could if you wanted to. Two-factor authentication, I've enabled that via my Docker Compose. We'll take a look at that. Again, you can upload a custom avatar. If you want to go that route, just click it and go to your uploads. Nope, nothing there. Anyway, you can upload an image for your avatar if you want to do that. Down here, I feel like all of this should be under server administration over here. I don't know why it's not. But you can delete all of the data. You can export your data. I guess it's the server stuff that should be over here, not this. This is for your account. The server, force upload stats, delete all uploads. And then, of course, you can generate a ShareX config or a FlamePoint script config if you wanted to do that. So all you've got to do in this case is click on Generate ShareX config, decide, do you want it to upload files or shorten URLs? And then, of course, you can adjust your default settings there, and then click on Download. Okay, so once you've downloaded your ShareX config or your Flame script config, I don't know, I haven't messed with Flame script or Flame shot rather, I apologize. We're just going to take a look at ShareX so you can see how you could use this as a third-party or a self-hosted third-party option for whatever you happen to do with ShareX, right? So first thing we need to do is open ShareX. And here is our ShareX dashboard. I'm going to minimize this to avoid some confusion. So what we want to do is come over here to Destinations and go to Custom Uploader Settings. Then what we want to do is come down here to where it says Import. We want to import from File. Then we want to select our Zipline file here. And right there is our new entry there. And we can make sure that everything looks appropriate based on the name, the URL, those sorts of things. What we want to do, though, is make sure that we come down here and select Zipline for our image uploader, our text uploader, whatever we want this to handle for us. We're going to do down here. We're going to make sure that all of that is there. If we want it to, we can click on Test. And hey, it looks like that is there. If I click that, that looks appropriate. So if I come back over to my Zipline setup, right there is a file that was just uploaded a couple of seconds ago. So we know that that is working. Now, with that, we can now close some of this stuff out. We can close here. Oh, the other thing I think we want to do, destinations. We also, so I've already messed with this. These will be set to like Imgur or Pastebin or Dropbox or Bitly or whatever, right? What you want to do is make sure you come over here and go to File Loader and then do Custom File Uploader for your setup so that it by default uses your setup. If you don't, it's just going to upload to those default settings, again, like Imgur or Pastebin or whatever. So you need to do destinations. And then once you've done your custom destination, you also need to adjust these as well, just to make sure that everything is working appropriately. What I want to do, though, just to show you how this works, I'm just going to open this. I've got a shortcut like so for regions. And here you can see that like it is selecting different regions, or I can just say, you know what, I just want to grab that right there. It looks like it's uploaded. It looks like it's uploaded over here. And look, it just uploaded there as well. And there is the screenshot that we took. The other thing that you can do here, just as a quick demonstration, you can also tie this into your Windows install, right? So if I were to come into pictures, I don't have anything there. Tell you what, let's go into here. I'm sure I've got a picture in here somewhere, right? I can right click and then I can say upload with ShareX. And there it says it's done it. If I come back over to here, there it is. It uploaded there as well. So a couple of different ways that you can use ShareX to automatically upload images or manually upload images to your Zipline server. So now that we've taken kind of a high level look at Zipline, the homepage, we kind of at least looked at the GitHub repository. We took a look at an instance that I've got. We got Zipline set up with ShareX so that we can use that as part of our kind of our daily routine with Windows. I'm sure it works with other things as well. I'm just a Windows guy, so I don't know what to tell you if you're not. But with all of that said, let's take a look at actually getting Zipline installed on our Docker server. I'm going to use Portainer. You can do this via command line if you want to. If you know how to do it via command line, you can extrapolate, I promise. But what we want to do is come over here to Zipline, and over here on their docs page, like we took a look at a moment ago during our demonstration, this is the Docker Compose that we're going to use for our deployment, right? It's got a couple of services. The first one here is a Postgres database. We're using version 15 for our setup here. It's got a restart policy unless stopped. It's got some environment variables here. Now, you should, at the very, very minimum, change the username and the password. Just for security reasons, I shouldn't have to explain that to you. Change the username and password at the very, very minimum. Below that, we've got a volume for the database. We're going to change that for our setup, but the volume that we've got set up here for our database is also declared down here at the bottom. Whatever you've got here has to match down here, though those also have to line up. We've also got a health check that it does just to make sure that everything is set up and ready to go. And that actually ties into what we're going to get into next, which is the actual Zipline application here. The image, we're going to pull that from the GitHub repository, and it is diced/zipline. Again, a restart policy unless stopped. By default, we're going to use port 3000, but we can change that real easily. I'll show you that. We've got a core secret. This is for security reasons, for encryption, that sort of thing. Like it says there, change that. Next, we've got the core database URL for the Postgres connection. Again, like I mentioned earlier, change the username up here and the password up here. Username is right there. Password is right there. I wish that was more clearly defined in this, but it should be like Postgres user, Postgres password, and then the same down here, just to make it easier for people who aren't familiar with these setups. But that's not our point here. Just know that if you change these up here, you should change them down here as well. If you do change the database up here, you'll also want to change, I believe, that right there. Our volumes, again, this is going to be where our uploads go and then where our actual interface goes. And then depends on Postgres, like until Postgres is up and running appropriately, Zipline won't deploy. So that's why it says depends on. If it deployed too early, it would throw errors because the database wasn't ready and it couldn't run through its initial setup process. So that's why it's got this depends on the Postgres there. And again, the volume down here we talked about for the database up there. Let's see what else. There's some other stuff on ways that you can do this. Follow the instructions here. It says, after installing, please edit the Docker Compose and find the line that says change this to replace this. You could use a string like a password manager or something to change that as you need to. So definitely change that for security reasons as well. While we're here, the other thing I want to take a look at is the configuration. If we take a look at this, these are the only two required environment variables for this setup in the Docker Compose. However, there are a bunch of additional options that you can take a look at as well. Whether it's for the website, whether you want to change the title of the website, do you want to show files per user? That's kind of a security thing that you can change. External URLs we'll take a look at as well. Showing the website version, yes or no. Basically, all of the different things that we see here, I talked about kind of briefly down here on my instance. And then, of course, up here at the top, I changed the user or the website name. All of that was done via environment variables in my Docker Compose. Again, we've got URLs for different routes if we want to change the route for our setup. So for the URL section, it's like zipline.yourdomain.com/go/ whatever word you gave it to be the shortened word, right? You can change go to be something else. And the URL length, you can change that if you want to as well. The uploader, you can change the default format, whether it's name or date or all of the Giphy cat. You can change that for the default right here, again, as an environment variable. The uploader route, you can change the length. If you use the random format, it will just choose 6 random characters. You can upload the file size for admin and users. You can disable certain file extensions, maybe like .exe for security reasons. You can change the uploader format date to whatever fits your fancy there. So there's a lot of different stuff in here. You can rate limit your users and your admins. You can incorporate OAuth, third-party OAuth providers if you want to do that. Multi-factor authentication if you want to do that. Features, like there's a bunch of just different things in here that you can pick and choose what you want to do with your setup. And I guess just to demonstrate that, let me show you mine. This is a garbage install, so I don't care if you see anything in here. As you can see, I haven't changed my username and password, right? I changed this to change this. I wasn't real secure with my setup because this is just to demonstrate what I'm talking about here. So basically, all of this was already in the Docker Compose. If we take a look, I apologize, let's go back over to here. Like here you can see, oh, I guess cores and core secrets was in there. I've added, I guess, everything else. No, I lied. I am such a liar. You guys deserve better than this. I originally pulled that from here, right? I didn't pull it from the website. I pulled it from the GitHub. So all of this was already there in my Docker Compose. So I added the upload limit, the admin limit, show files per user, false, show stats, false. I changed my external links with one of the compose options or the configuration options right here. You will notice like this has a single quote around it. If you're doing this via Docker Compose, you have to remove that. You can see I don't have a quote right there at the beginning and the end, but that's how you can add or change the external links down there in the bottom left corner. Show version true, yes or no. Show title, yes or no. Or show title, what do you want it to be? I get ahead of myself sometimes. Do you want to enable two-factor authentication? Yes. The issuer, basically what it will show up as in your two-factor authentication, your one-time password app. You can customize that as well. And then I've mapped my volumes for this to be where I like to put things. So all of that is what my Docker Compose looks like. However, the newest Docker Compose doesn't require versions. So we're gonna do this, right? I'm gonna copy my version because I'm arrogant like that. I'm going to add a new stack. I'm gonna paste this in here. I'm gonna call it Zipline Tut. And then I'm gonna change a couple of things here real quick. Like my port, because I'm already using port 3000 on my other instance, I'm going to change this to 3030. Don't change the colon or anything after it. It'll cause issues. I'm going to remove upload limits. I don't think that's necessary. Show version, I'm going to say false. I'm going to say FB. Oops, I lied. I'm going to call this X. Sure. And then Mastodon. Sure, why not? So show version false, Zipline, this is going to be tut. And then I'm going to disable, this. That's the two-factor authentication stuff. And then again, I need to change my paths right there. And then I need to change this. So this is just some stuff that you may or may not change on your setup. But you can manipulate your Docker Compose to be whatever you want it to be, or you can literally just use the default Docker Compose that's right here or over on their GitHub. Lots of options. You can customize and configure however you need to for your setup. So once we've got our Docker Compose set up the way we want, we can scroll down and click on deploy the stack. We're gonna give this a second to do its thing. It shouldn't actually take us very long at all to deploy this. And then we'll jump into, there it is. So we're gonna go ahead and click here. Here we can see that the Postgres database is starting. If we open this up, All of that is fine. And then it's not going to do anything here until everything is ready to go. So once we see that everything is healthy and running and whatnot, we can click our published ports over here. Okay, so here we can see our login screen, and we can see that our site name has been changed to dbtech Zipline Tut because we declared that in the environment variable for the application. So by default, our username should be administrator and our password should be password. And there we go. And of course, Chrome doesn't like that the password is password. So let's fix that real quick, right? We can click on administrator up here, click on manage account, and then change our username and our password and click save. And as long as I didn't screw that up too badly, we should be good to go to log in with our new user account next time we need to log in. And that's how easy it is to get this set up. We already took a look at how to create a ShareX config export so that we can tie this to our ShareX app if we wanted to use that, or we can just use this as a standalone kind of an Imgur kind of thing, or a file shortener, or all kinds of different things that we can do with this. I'm going to be honest, while I think this is a great product, I don't see myself implementing this in my day-to-day life. Again, I think it's cool. I think it's a great premise. I like what it does. It's just not something that I would use for myself, but that doesn't mean that you wouldn't use it. And I would love it if you would tell me in the comment section down below if this is something that you have used or would use. Let me know what kind of functions and features you might like to see. Of course, you should probably put that in the feature request over on their GitHub as well if you wanted to see that. But let me know what your thoughts are on Zipline, if this is something that you would use or have used or might consider using. Definitely check out their links. Everything will be linked in the video description, both their website and their GitHub repository. Their GitHub is currently, or this repository is currently at 1.3 thousand stars. If you find this project interesting, you can support them by giving this a star and maybe even following the project. If you want to support dbtech, the channel, and the dude in front of the camera, you can become a channel member if you want to do that. Or for as little as $1 a month, you can head over to Patreon and get usually early access, but always ad-free access, and also get your name on the screen back there. If you saw your name, let me know at what timestamp you saw your name here in the video. That would be neat. But yeah, I think that kind of covers everything I wanted to cover in this video. Again, I want to thank you guys for spending a few minutes of your day with me today, and I'll talk to you in the next video.